Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel, Athena Star Universe. I am Athena, and if you clicked on this video, it's because you let the world mold you, as I have. So, we're gonna start this off with childhood. When I was a kid, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm not saying if you have ADHD you're stupid, but I was kind of like perceived like that. I was perceived as being dumb, and it's because when I was a kid I loved to be free. I would just love to run, I love to play. So whenever I was in a room, I just felt like my imagination and my mind was elsewhere. I was always like, my teachers would describe it as I was not in this world. And so whenever you tend to be like that, you don't tend to really pay attention to schoolwork and stuff like that. So I wasn't the most A honor student, right? Maybe like B's or C's, but I was still smart in my own light. But I didn't think so, because people would call me stupid. There was this boy who would call me 2.0, and me and him would like joke around, right? Because I was in 4th grade, and he would call me 2.0 because of the reading level, because those are the books that I would read. I just loved anything colorful, so I loved colorful books and all that stuff. And so that was the only thing that I was reading. So every time he saw me, he would call me 2.0, and then he would just tease me. And at the time I thought, to me I was like, oh, we're joking together, like this is my new friend, because he was in a younger year than me, and I did not have classes with him or anything, so he would just call me that. And honestly, I don't even know how we met. He would just call me that, and I would just be like, oh my god, this is so funny, ha ha ha, whatever. But I never really noticed that as time went by, I really internalized that, not just by him, but a lot of like situations in my school, all the way through like high school. And I really let it mold me in a way that I didn't know any better. I didn't have support. I didn't have support within my parents or my siblings. I am the oldest of my siblings, and at the time they were pretty young. So of course I let the world mold me. And by the time I was in high school, I just thought school wasn't for me. I already had like thoughts in my head that I was stupid, so I ended up dropping out. I didn't complete school. In all honesty, I do think I'm a creative being, so I don't really like school anyways. But I know that just because I didn't finish school, that doesn't mean I am a stupid person. Oh, I am not. I feel like I give such great advice to people, and I think that's my gift. I also am a clairsentient. If you don't know what that means, clairsentient is it's a spiritual gift where you can feel. So I feel I've always been just an emotional kid, but it wasn't that I was emotional. I was just feeling so much, The reason why I'm making this video is because I know that there's not only just kids or adolescents, but there's also like adults that still like operate like this to this day. They have these thoughts because, for example, whenever I was a kid and my mom would get onto me and I would go cry on my pillow, most kids are probably saying that they hate their mom or this or that, like right? Well, I was the opposite. I like internalized that, and I would just tell myself that I hate myself and that I'm stupid and that I'm worthless. And I didn't have much support, and a lot of people around me, all they did was compare. So I let them mold me, and I let them compare until I started comparing myself to others. And so I kept saying those things, and that went for many years. And then there was a point where I was diagnosed with BPD, and I let that mold me as well, because I would have tantrums because of my BPD and everything. But whenever I turned 24, I was just sick of it. I was sick of everything. I was sick of myself. Whenever I was a teenager, I did attempt, you know, to leave this world, because I just felt like that's all I was. That was all I was. In reality, that was all I was, because I just victimized myself all the time. And you know, when you get to an adult, it's okay, like, it's okay to say, like, you know, you're the victim of your environment and all that stuff, but there comes to the point where you have to take accountability and you have to heal. And so that's what I did. I started looking into like manifesting. I started looking into like self-help, the chakras, everything. I just wanted to like know who I was. And what really worked for me and what changed for me was that I didn't even know this could be possible, but I decided to be kind to myself. I decided to give myself love. I decided to love myself. And you know, once I decided to, you know, because everything that we do is a choice. How you view how you view people in the world, how you treat people, it is a choice. You have to understand that, like, excuse me, you have to understand that, you know, you can't control how others react, but you can control how you react. And for the longest, I was just reactive. And the moment that I decided to start loving myself, to start looking inward, to start just discovering who I was as a person, my values, my morals, I like learned that I was such a people pleaser, and like a lot of things. Like I got to discover myself in so many different ways. Like, for example, I was in a certain relationship for many years, and I felt like we were never happy. Not to say like we didn't have our happy moments, because we did for sure. Like, we had such lovely moments, and I learned a lot from those moments. And I do think every relationship, like, you have lessons to learn. Like, whenever I leave those relationships, I'm not losing a part of myself, because I learned something within that, and I get to discover who I am as these lessons come to be. When I finally like learned to actually like love myself, I kind of was looking at the relationship that I was in, and then I was like, you know what? I think I wasn't in that relationship. Not to say that I didn't love my partner. Oh, I loved my partner. It's just to say that I didn't fall in love with them as a person. I fell in love with the idea of them, because I saw the potential. In all honesty, I saw the potential, and it made me realize that, I mean, which was true, I never really loved myself when I was in that relationship, but it made me realize, like, once I started actually loving myself and being kind to myself and knowing what I want in this life, it made me realize, like, that wasn't what I wanted in my life, because, like, I was always asking, begging for certain things in my life that if I would have just loved myself from the beginning, I would have known that this wasn't the relationship for me. But I spent years and years and years either trying to conform them into like my ideal partner, because I knew that they loved me and I loved them, and I thought that's all that I needed in a relationship was love. But in reality, it wasn't. Like, for you to have a good relationship with anybody, friends, you know, your family, your partners, you really do have to love yourself, because when you don't love yourself, you only look outward, you don't look inward. You're just looking at everybody, you want to control everybody. But how about we take control of our lives? The point in this video is to say that that little voice inside your head can either make you or break you. when I decided to actually be kind to myself and love myself, and just like, I really started to romanticize life, and I started to love life. And you know, when you love life, it's really such a beautiful thing, because then you can love others and you can give them your whole love. And you don't know how giving and how much love you really have until like you discover who you, like, you can't discover who you really are unless you love yourself. And it really does have to do with manifesting, because if you really think about it, like, whatever you are like your reality. So whatever you're putting inside your head is going to come out into your life. So if you're always constantly telling yourself that you hate yourself, and yeah, this would happen to me, blah, 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 like saying all these bad things, oh, the universe is going to show you, baby. Oh, they're going to show you. And you have to realize that you are a part of the universe. Okay, 111 all the time. Actually 1111, the same difference. But yeah, and it's the same thing with relationships. Relationships can make you or break you. You just really have to, like, you really have to look inward and be like, what do I want? Isn't that crazy? And I feel like from a very young age, I was never looking inward. I was like always looking outward, because that's what I was taught. I was taught to look outward and not look inward. I was taught not to be patient. And you know, for the longest I didn't want kids, because I didn't want to be like, because I thought that I was gonna raise my kids the way that I was raised. And from a very young age, like middle school to high school, I didn't want to be here. And I was just like, why would I want to bring something into this world that's not gonna want to be here? Because that was my thought process. So I thought, you know, that's what my child is gonna think. But if you really think about it, if you mold and treat your child with such love and patience, why wouldn't they love you, and why wouldn't they love the world? Of course, not everybody wants to have kids, and that's understandable. This is my child, so we don't always have to have human babies. Talk about so many different things, but this is all I really wanted to talk about today. And I just wanted to say that your mind is your world. So just be careful what you tell yourself. And if anybody has any questions, just let me know, because I'm willing to make more videos about anything that you have to ask. I'm here to help you. And I have learned that if I can help one person, then I have done my job. I love you guys.